Hello and welcome back to the channel. So a bunch of the videos I do or have done recently have been on snowboarding gear or Jeep repair or home projects. This one's going to be a little bit different, but it is a product review. So, well, I don't know if this is quite going to be the review yet. This is going to be the installation process. And what I'm going to be installing is a 3D printing filament heater on my Bambu Labs AMS system. So this is going to take a little explanation of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But I have been doing a lot of 3D printing over the last few years. I bought Bambu Labs P1S system with their AMS, which is automated material system. It lets you switch filaments automatically. It holds 4 different spools of filament of different colors or different types, and it lets you print directly from them. You can have a print that is multicolor. I don't do many multi-print color prints because it's kind of wasteful. Every time it switches colors, it changes it spits out a bunch of extra filament while it purges the nozzle, and so it's a little bit wasteful, and so I don't tend to do it. But what I have been doing recently is a lot more mechanical projects. So the first thing, one of the first projects that I really got a lot of enjoyment out of was I changed the switch pod on my Jeep, or what I call the switch pod. So where little switches are installed for lights or other accessories, I sort of designed one in Fusion 360 that allowed me to remove the ashtray, because I'm not a smoker and I don't need an ashtray, and put more switches in. Now, I only have 2 switches. My goal is to eventually get up to 6, but you know, we only got 2 so far. We'll get there. The Jeep's a long-term project. But there's been a couple of other things I've been working on. One, along with my friend Alan, I've been helping him with some of his motorcycle projects, and those have come up with a couple of things where he's like, "Hey, can you make this?" And so, because it's hard to find a part for a 1912 motorcycle, so maybe we have to make one. So I made a carburetor float for him last week that I'm going to have to print in nylon, and we'll get to that a little bit more here in a moment. And we've got some parts for another motorcycle that he's working on that I think we're going to end up trying to cast in brass that I've modeled. I've 3D modeled already. We're going to use some special filament that we can completely melt out of a casting process and then use that to cast it in brass. That's something that's going to be probably coming into the channel soon. And I've got a little bit of a thing I want to do for my snowboard that I'm also going to be doing in nylon. But all of these specialty projects require specialty filaments, and so the default printing filament for 3D printers is PLA. It's polylactic acid. I just remembered that. Lactic acid, the same stuff that makes your muscles burn. They turn it into plastic and print it. It's an organic plastic. They make it from corn or other vegetables that can produce sugars. But it's the, I would say, default printing material because it prints very well on 3D printers. However, it's not very strong and it's not particularly durable, and it doesn't hold up to weather or other conditions. So for the carburetor float, that is going to be sitting in fuel all the time, and PLA would just completely dissolve. So we're going to print that in nylon. For my snowboarding project, I'm also going to be printing that in nylon. And for some other things that I've done recently, just because I needed additional strength, I've printed them either in ABS or ASA, which are a lot stronger. And ASA in particular holds up to UV rays. And so there's these reasons to print other materials other than PLA. However, all of those other materials absorb water from the atmosphere at a very high rate, particularly nylon. So I haven't printed anything in nylon yet, but my experience with printing in ABS and ASA is both of those materials need to be very dry, and need to be dried out before you can even print them. So I do have a filament dryer. It's a very cheap one that I bought off Amazon a while ago for maybe like 20 or 30 bucks. And it will dry the filaments. In fact, I've got spools of ABS and ASA sitting in the filament dryer right now, and when I go out and check on them, they have, you can see vapor condensing, the water vapor condensing on the inside of the chamber, and it takes a few days to dry them out. But the problem is, and particularly with nylon, which I'm really concerned about, is as soon as I take it out of that filament dryer, it's going to start absorbing moisture from the air. And so I started, I was looking at, hey, what can I do to solve this so that I can start getting some reliable prints out of nylon as I proceed. And what I found was this SUNLU AMS printer. So the AMS doesn't have a dryer built into it. This basically replaces the top, or what I understand, we're going to find out, it was when we unbox this and we start playing with it and we install it, is it replaces the top of the AMS with some heaters and I think some fans, and will actively dry any filaments that I've got in there. So it'll keep them dry, and then it will be, not only that, they won't start absorbing moisture while I'm running them in the printer. So I could have 4 spools of everything. You know, I could have some nylon, some ABS, some ASA, some PETG or some PLA. I could put everything into the AMS system and keep them relatively dry even when they're printing. So I won't have that sort of like time where, hey, it's moving from the filament dryer into the AMS to be printed with. I'm not going to be absorbing moisture then, and I think this should work better, and it should help me get more reliable prints, particularly with fussy materials like nylon particularly. All right, so the first thing we're going to do with this installation is we're going to remove the AMS. I'm going to take it in the house. I'm going to do this on the table in there just so I got a little bit of room to work on it. And to do that, this is literally the first thing I ever printed when I got this Bambu printer, and it's a little tool. I just got it off of their default download site, but it's got a release lever, or it's a little release mechanism for your tubing and the power adapter for the AMS, because both of those are really hard to get at on the AMS. So let's just flip the camera around and... All right, so just to make this easy, we have turned around the entire printer. We've turned off the power on it, and just using this little tool, we'll just put it right in there. That lets that release super easy, and I haven't done this for a while. I don't quite remember what I'm doing here, but if I remember right, let's see here. Oh yeah, there's this little power release right here. So if we just slide this over it, it lets us release the power cable as well. So now the AMS is completely disconnected. We can pick it up, we can take it into the house. All right, so I just got back from the garage from disconnecting the AMS from the Bambu printer. And right here, I have the box for the AMS heater. I really liked it on the top here. That's backwards, but it says no trampling. Don't trample this box. Don't tread on me. Okay, so, I mean, this kind of makes sense. This feels like it's just going to be a box that I'm going to take the lid off of the AMS, and this box is going to fit on top of it, and it's got power. But this is exactly as it came out of the box, and the box was wasn't even shipped in another box from Amazon. It was pretty well packaged, and there was foam inside the box. So I'm going to pull this out, read some instructions. But I think all I'm going to have to do is pull this hinge off of the AMS and put this guy in here. But it's got instructions here. Oh, a little more foam padding in here. Keep it safe. So I'm going to read instructions, and then we'll figure out how to install this guy. Okay, so step 1 looks like there are 4 hex screws on the bottom of the AMS. So we're going to remove those. These hold on the hinges. So we're going to 1, 2, and then 2 on this side. I don't think you can see those in the camera, and I don't think I can get a good shot of it, but you can see it's pretty obvious from right here. There's one on two on either side of it. So, and SUNLU included a nice long hex wrench that we can remove those with. So all right, so one quick problem I ran into almost immediately. The screws holding the hinges into the original AMS are very tight. And as you can see, I have two Allen wrenches here. This is the one that was provided. I may have switched them. One of these is the one that was provided by SUNLU in the kit. And actually, I think it's this one because that one had a slight bend to it and I can see it on there. And this is the one that came with my Bambu when I originally bought it. So I kept that toolkit. The one from SUNLU, I could not get the hex screws out with. It was skipping. It just, I think it's just slightly the wrong side, even though they look like they're exactly the same. So it was just off. So went out to the garage, grabbed the original wrench, and I was able to get the first two of the 4 screws out successfully. So I thought it was great that SUNLU had included this hex wrench in here, but it seems like the tolerances on it for these teeny little screws, which are in really tight, isn't quite good enough. And so I had to use the original Bambu hex wrench to get those screws out. Okay, so with the screws out, we can lift the lid off the AMS and we can remove these little hinges right here. All right, so it seems like the kit gave us an extra set of new hinges. So here's one set of new hinges and 4 screws. Here's an additional set of hinges and 4 screws. And then here is the original hinges and 4 screws from the original AMS. It does look like these are orientated a certain way. So I'm gonna have to figure out how those go on. But basically what it looks like now is I take this, I set it on the AMS, put the hinges on and screw it back together. And I think that is all we have to do. Let me experiment with this real quick and we'll see how it works. Okay, these hinges only go on one way, so they are aligned, and then they fit perfectly between these little, there's a little slot in it, and it fits right into there. So you can see if I use the wrong one, it would only go on one way. These were really tight to fit in here. In fact, I was kind of worried I was going to break it putting it together, but they do snap in. It was a little bit tight. So we'll snap the other one in on the far side over there and then screw it on. And I think we're done. This seems to be a very simple installation. So when you have these set up the right way, they will just slide right on like this. And the keyway does key into these little guys right here. But if you do it the wrong way, like I did, you won't be able to open the AMS. It'll be stuck closed, which was my clue that I had done it wrong. It also is really hard to get them off if you put them on the wrong way because they kind of lock in. That is definitely not the right way to do this. So don't do like I did. Think about this a little bit. Things shouldn't be hard to assemble. These are easy to assemble. If it's hard, you're probably doing it the wrong way. A little tricky getting these screws back in here because it's a bit of a reach, but not impossible. You just got to be a little bit careful. So I don't know if we captured much of that on camera, but I think that should work. All right, after a little trial and error, we did get this set up. So we're going to go in and we'll reinstall this back onto the printer. Just a couple of things to note, and we'll just adjust the camera right here. We're going to adjust the camera so you can see this a little better. The original AMS lid had these little latches so you could latch the lid down. They're covered, so it obviously isn't going to work with those. However, this is quite a bit heavier, so I think just with its own weight, it should seal down well enough that those latches are no longer needed to help keep moisture out. The other thing is, because it's a little heavier, it's a little You know, I'm a little worried if you weren't careful, this might break. So I do think what I'll be doing is setting this up so that when it opens, it pushes up against the wall so that, you know, maybe there's a maximum, you know, I don't have to worry about it breaking off. I do feel that just given how heavy this is compared to what we've got for the hinge here, it just feels a little bit like it could break off. So I will definitely be a little bit careful with it, but it, you know, other than I think really more user error, the installation process was pretty good. So let's slap this on the 3D printer, and we'll see how the menu works, and we'll start drawing some filament. All right, at the beginning of this, I may have said something about not doing a review, and I don't know that I'll consider this a full review, but I have had this for a few days now, and it is working great. Honestly, it works really well. A couple of things. One, I am printing a little bit of nylon right now, and it's printing great after being in the dryer for a day or so. The controls on this are fairly intuitive. It took, you know, a 30-second read through their instructions manual to understand, you know, there's sort of the, you know, there's a value for projected temperature and for the actual temperature. I really like the, hey, just presets for the type of material you put in there. So if you put in PETG or you put in PLA or you put in ABS, you can just choose the setting there and it'll give you a temperature and a time. There's also a relative humidity setting that it will then, you can set, and it'll just kind of keep humidity. If it senses the humidity gets high enough, it'll kick in. That way it'll kind of always keep your filaments in a good state. So you can just kind of leave them in there in maintenance mode. I will say, and one little negative on this, I don't know if it's a negative, but just to be aware, it can be a little bit noisy. So it runs some fans. And the first day when I was running it, I was out here working out in the garage gym, and even from being out here, it was a little bit annoying. Now that said, I think if you're running the sorts of filaments like ABS or ASA or nylon that really need that to be dry, that where you'd maybe be using them in something like this, you're probably not going to be printing it somewhere where you're going to be hanging out, watching TV and stuff, because those put out fumes when they print. And you don't want to be inhaling those fumes. So more than likely, if you're running a system like this, it's going to be out somewhere in a garage that's got good ventilation, or where you're not in a living space, in which case that's sort of the noise from the fans probably isn't that big of a deal. So other than, really honestly, other than a little bit of a snafu of me not installing the hinges the right way, which really feels like user error and a problem on my side. Although I do feel like the instructions could have had some nice pictures to clarify that a little bit. This thing has been great. It seems to be exactly what I was looking for. It does exactly what it says. And I think it's a great addition to my, my 3D printing processes. So thanks for watching. We will see you again later.